Hello and welcome to another episode of Linux Innovation. In this episode, we'll focus on system profiles and the use of tuned-d. Let's log in. Let's open a text editor. So tuned-d is basically a tool that facilitates or allow administrators to apply specific performance profiles within the system. How does he do that? Is basically by using a series of packages and a series of configuration files that are changed in the backend to allow these specific profiles to be tied into the system. So these profiles are mainly are integrated into the operating system to allow system administrator to apply ccTL and sys parameters for better performance or better latency of the system that is in different type of workloads. By default, this service is available on Red Hat 7 and Red Hat 8. In this particular system, we are running CentOS 8, which is the reincarnation of Red Hat 8. In this case, the tuned-d service itself is responsible for applying static profiles, but that doesn't mean that it has to be used in a vacuum. It can actually be used in conjunction with Chrome in order to optimize dynamically the use of this static profile across different time frames through the night, through the days, based on whatever parameters you define in your cron job. This service in particular for dynamic tuning is controlled by a single configuration file, which resides under etc tuned-d / tuned-d-main.config. So the main parameter in this configuration file is changing the dynamic tuning variable from 0 to 1 in order to activate the actual configuration in the system. Now, when adjusting this parameter, the result basically will tune in the system every 10 seconds. Now let's jump into a terminal and show you by example how to use the tuned-d service in relation to perform profiles in a Red Hat or CentOS system. So let's open up a terminal. Actually, before we open the terminal, let me reiterate the commands that we'll be using in this particular scenario. We'll use tuned-adm list to list all the profiles. You could also use tuned-adm -- help to look at all the different variants within the tuned-adm binary. We're going to be using tuned-adm active to evaluate the active profile that we are running on. And finally, we'll use tuned-adm recommend just so you can see the recommendations provided by the system based on the actual packages that are in your system. Now, keep in mind, the tuned-adm is not the recommendation approach for every system. So in this terminal, let's type tuned-adm-help, and we can see the different variants. Let's log in as root so we have full access to the system. Type our password. Now let's go and type tuned-adm list. This will give you a list of every single available profile. Now the first one is the balance profile. This one is just a general non-specific tune profile. Then the following one is a desktop profile. This one is primarily used for people that are using a window manager. Then we have the Hpc Compute Profile for high performance computer workloads. Then we have latency performance. This one is primarily used to increase power consumption and to reduce the latency across a system. The network latency is similar to the latency performance, but this one primarily increases the power consumption and focus in network latency itself. The network throughput profiles is optimized for streaming network throughput. This is generally necessary for all the CPU and to increase the performance of network connectivity across high capacity networks. The power save profile is mainly optimized to reduce the power consumption in the system. The throughput performance is mainly applicable for tuning performance as it relates to files transfer or high workloads in a server. The virtual guest profile is optimized for running inside a guest operating system like we have here, which is running on VMware Workstation. And the virtual host will be something like a profile used for KVM hosts. Now, our current profile, as you can see, is virtual guest, and that's because we're using VMware Workstation. Now, based on that analysis that we just did, we can proceed and type tuned-adm, and we type active to validate the actual profile that we are running on at the moment. As I showed you earlier, this profile was selected for us because we are running VMware Workstation as a virtual guest. And you could validate that by looking at the last line. But let's switch to a different profile. Let's say we want to move from the VMware virtual guest into a different profile. So how do we achieve that? We type tuned-adm profile followed by the profile name that we have in the list itself. In this case, we're going to use network latency. We can type tuned-adm active to validate that our new profile has been activated in the system. Now, tuned-adm recommend will always provide you or recommend you a profile based on the series of packages that have been installed on the system. It doesn't mean that that is the optimal profile for the system, but these decisions are basically made as per the packages installed. This is basically a brief introduction to system profiles using tuned. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please don't forget to subscribe.